That's right. We're doing another werewolf episode. Somebody please call my sponsor. I really think I need help. Goosebumps only had 2 werewolf episodes in its runtime, and I have to give them credit here because they're vastly different from each other in good ways. While The Werewolf of Fever Swamp was more of an isolated incident far away from civilization, Werewolf Skin is a little closer to civilization. In fact, you could say that civilization is encroaching into the woods and onto this werewolf. Also, the werewolf of this story, or werewolves, work a bit differently than they did in Fever Swamp. Very uniquely different. Our episode opens up with our main character, Alex Hunter, as he's getting off a bus in the middle of the night in front of a dark abandoned gas station. The creepy bus driver gives us some exposition on the situation, where we find out that Alex is here on the outskirts of Wolf Creek to stay with his aunt and uncle for the week. She also tells him a spooky story that in no way plays into the overall plot of this.
I heard a story once about a headless ghost supposed to be out in those woods. And every night when the moon is full, he haunts the forest seeking revenge.
Don't you have some kind of schedule to keep?
So, Alex is a bit of an unlikable character. He comes off as whiny and kind of an entitled bitch to me, but as the episode progresses, we see that he's got a good heart past all of that shit. Also, that bus driver was a bit off, so who cares if he was rude to her? She was kind of a bitch in Tommy Boy, too. Oh, and that other Goosebumps episode she was in. Comment down below if you want me to get to that episode sooner rather than later, because it is a doozy. While waiting for his aunt and uncle to show up, Alex finds an ad for Chiller magazine who's looking for a spooky picture to put in their next issue.
First prize, $1,000.
Alex, like his aunt and uncle, considers himself to be a photographer, so the offer of a cash prize really catches his eye. Alex eventually passes out on the bench in front of the empty gas station till morning, where he finds that his aunt and uncle still haven't arrived. Man, are these guys deadbeats or what? That doesn't matter, though, as Alex has more pressing issues. A mysterious, Evil Dead / Friday the 13th camera is rapidly approaching from afar, getting closer. It's then when Alex's Uncle Colin arrives at the scene. Turns out they were late because of a midnight shoot and just forgot that Alex was arriving. I don't know about you guys, but I'd be way more pissed about this than Alex is here. Most normal people would be after being left alone in unfamiliar territory in the middle of the night, but I digress. Colin takes Alex back to the house in a rough Jeep ride, listening to bootleg Smooth Criminal. Gotta say, this episode's got balls. Even I wouldn't dare using a Michael Jackson song in one of my videos. Oh hey, Alex's aunt is played by Dr. Holloway from the hit movie Cube. I should really talk about Cube one of these days. I think she was in Ready or Not also. Oh, shit. I'm getting off topic here. When Alex arrives, his aunt seems to be pretty chill, as well as his uncle. They just have one rule. Don't bother the creepy neighbors next door. The Marlings' house. So Alex decides to go exploring Wolf Creek so that he can get some more pictures for the contest. I have to say, I'm really digging the music in this episode so far. I couldn't find any additional credits for who did it, so I can only assume it's more of Jack Lenz's work, although it doesn't really seem like his typical type of tracks, which had me curious. The music really does hit differently this time around. Alex eventually finds himself in the forest where he's greeted by a creepy girl named Hannah.
That's a tree. Oh. And that's a rock. And that's flying and there's a bird. Really? Wow, thanks!
Who seems fairly nice and really enjoys giving vague warnings about danger in the area, like most Goosebump characters tend to do.
Anna, wait up. What's the rush?
The woods aren't really safe after dark.
Why? Is that when the monsters come out or something?
That's not funny, Alex.
She eventually runs off, leaving Alex alone in the soon-to-be dark woods. He begins to find himself lost, and that's when he hears a strange noise.
That's no rabbit!
Whatever this creature is, it chases him to the Marling's house, where he bangs on the door so he can get to safety. It's then when his aunt grabs him from behind and tells him off for daring to bother the creepy neighbors. Alex runs back to the house, and Uncle Colin and Aunt Marta apparently go on another night expedition for photos.
Can I come too?
No! Look, Alex, we're working on a special project tonight, and the fewer bodies we have around, the better.
What's the project?
Oh, Alex, I don't have time for all these questions, all right?
The next day, Alex is attending the local school where he finds the teacher, Mr. Shine, is teaching about myths. How appropriate. Alex is asked to define what a myth is.
It's like a fairy tale. It's a lie that people believe in because they don't know the real reason for things.
That's very good, Alex.
Apparently, Beavis and Butthead over here don't really like that answer. Turns out these two jokers believe that werewolves live in the area, and based on how the teacher reacts, he might believe the myth as well. Apparently, the legend is a little different here. Werewolves here have to shed their skin when the full moon is over, only to put it back on when the full moon begins again, so they can transform. The only way to kill them is to destroy the skin. So basically, like skinwalkers, I guess. I don't know. Alex finds this humorous, but the rest of the class seems to be taking it very seriously. After class, Beavis and Butthead, aka Sean and Arjun, dare Alex to meet up with them during the full moon in the woods, to which Alex agrees, not wanting to be thought of as a chicken.
Yeah, chicken. Cluck, cluck, cluck.
Zip it, Arjun.
Walking home, Alex is jump-scared by Hannah again. She warns him of the danger of the woods at night, but Alex plays it off like a ridiculous rumor.
I'll wait until they're gone, meet up with Beavis and Butthead, take a couple pictures, and be back before any werewolves even know I'm there.
Hannah doesn't care for his insolence.
Hannah! Man, these people are weird.
Later that night, Alex tries to sneak out of the house, only to find that his aunt and uncle installed bars on all the windows. While trying to pry them open, he sees something crawling out of the Marling house window. That's when he comes face to face with the werewolf. Alex manages to scare it off with a flash from his camera, unfortunately not really getting a good picture for proof. The next morning, his aunt and uncle come into his room to find Alex about ready to jump them with a weapon.
Alex, take it easy.
What is going on in here?
Ask your nephew. He's the one holding the ibex.
Alex knows he saw a werewolf, and even though you'd think the bent bars would be proof enough, Uncle Colin doesn't really seem to think it's a werewolf.
It must have been a bear or something, a rabid fox.
Alex now knows that Hannah may have been right all along about the woods not being safe. His aunt scoffs at this revelation, saying that Hannah is just a loony girl who lost it after her brother was attacked by a wolf in the woods. Alex meets up with Hannah and confides in her what he saw. Instead of being scared, though, Alex decides he wants to get proof of the werewolf's existence so they can make a ton of money selling proof to the magazines. Gotta admire his drive over here, but the risk probably isn't worth the reward, as I doubt any news articles would buy into that. Probably say it's photoshopped or something. Also, it would be really hard to get proof, definitive proof, from just pictures alone. Suddenly, Sean and Arjun arrive on the scene to chastise him about missing their meeting. That's when Alex tells him about what he saw and offers to meet up with them again later that night.
Tonight, meet me at the Marling house, midnight. That is, if you're not chicken. Cluck, cluck, cluck.
That night, Alex hides a crowbar in his room. After his aunt and uncle lock him up and decide to head out for a night shoot, he pulls out that crowbar and pries the door open. He makes it to the creek behind the Marling's house where he's supposed to meet Beavis and Butthead. He gets his camera ready and waits for their arrival, hoping for a good shot of a werewolf, as apparently this is where werewolves come to drink water. Unfortunately for Alex, the werewolves are a lot smarter than he thought. Way to scream like a bitch, Alex. Alex is jolted awake by the teacher, Mr. Shine. Turns out that last jump scare was just a dream. Apparently Hannah told Mr. Shine what Alex was planning, and Shine apparently believes in the werewolves just like Hannah does. But that's only because he has to. Wow, a double fake out. Haven't seen that one in Goosebumps yet. Care to go for round 3?
No more chocolate bars before bed.
Alex starts heading home, and that's when he finds his aunt and uncle's Jeep all torn to shreds. It looks like the werewolves may have gotten to them. Alex rushes home, looking for his aunt and uncle in a desperation, and I guess he gets a sixth sense to take a picture of the Marlings' house from his window. Man, that's a really fancy camera. My God. My $200 one can't even take pictures that clear, and from that far away in such a good resolution. Damn. Anyway, turns out Uncle Colin and Aunt Marta are werewolves, I guess, and Alex has to repair the door before they get inside the house. It's a really tense scene, and plays on experiences that some kids might have, like having to clean up or fix something before your parents come home, or, something like that. Except, well, most people's parents aren't werewolves. Most. Luckily, Alex manages to fix the door convincingly from the damage he did earlier, and fools his aunt and uncle successfully. A few hours later, Alex gets up for breakfast and tries to pretend that everything is normal, but he can't help but focus on minute details of the location and conversation they're having.
We had a bite last night.
He makes a hasty, awkward exit to school, with his aunt and uncle having some serious suspicions about what could be going on. Alex meets up with Hannah, who agrees to help him save his aunt and uncle from the werewolf curse. He first takes her to the ruins of the Jeep, only to find it's gone without a trace. After school, Alex gets another warning from Mr. Shine about the dangers of the werewolf myth. Mr. Shine clearly knows something about the werewolves, too. Perhaps he really is one of them, but that would be a twist. Alex meets up with Hannah again, and she helps him break into the Marlings' house. Turns out the Marlings' house is just an abandoned house, and Colin and Marta made up everything about the Marlings. Apparently to the point where everybody in town knew about the Marlings, but never saw them. Quite the sowers of deception, these two are. Alex manages to find the skins in an old trash bag located in one of the closets. With Hannah's help, he manages to cart them off into the woods to bury, hoping that if his aunt and uncle don't get to them, the curse will be broken. Yeah, I'd do the same thing too if I thought my aunt and uncle were furries. He gets cold feet though, and decides to run off, leaving Alex alone in the woods.
It's almost over.
No, it's not. It'll never be over, Alex. Never.
Hannah? Hannah, where are you going?
And that's when he's jumped by more werewolves.
Yeah, good. Man, you should have seen your face.
Or just Sean and Arjun playing a prank on him. But their moment in the spotlight is short-lived as the werewolf skins start to come alive and grab at them. The aunt and uncle then show up for the skins, and Alex desperately tries to hold them off as they claw at him like rabid junkies. The moon comes into full view in the sky, shining on the skins, causing them to light on fire and explode for some reason. Uncle Colin and Aunt Marta snap out of their trance and hug their nephew, now finally being free of the curse. But this wouldn't be a Goosebumps episode without a dark twist at the end. So while Alex and his uncle are developing photos a few days later, Alex notices something strange in one of them. Somehow, he got a crystal clean shot of Hannah in the woods. Hannah wearing a werewolf skin. Turns out Hannah is a werewolf too, and the episode ends with Hannah paying Alex another visit.
What's the matter? I told you I don't bite.
And that was Werewolf Skin. As you may know, I've covered the book on the channel as well, and I really enjoyed that. For an adaptation, I think the episode does really well, but it drops one of the major aspects of the book, and that's the fact that it takes place on Halloween. In the book, Alex and Hannah have to wear the werewolf skins to keep them away from Alex's aunt and uncle during Halloween while they're trick-or-treating, and I thought that was a really interesting moment, and I was slightly disappointed to not see that in the episode, but we do fine without it. The episode sets up a really great, thick atmosphere with a decent mystery and twist. It's a really fun adventure, and besides a few tiny gripes I have, I think this is truly a great episode. I'd go as far as to say that it's better than the Werewolf Fever Swamp, as the characters are a lot more likable in this story, and the plot twist with the aunt and uncle being the werewolves, as well as the misdirection with a lot of the other characters possibly being a werewolf, is really interesting. As an adult, you'll probably figure out the twist early on, but for kids, this will definitely be a decent, surprising twist. My only gripes with this episode, besides some of the acting and, a few typical campy goosebump moments, especially with the scene of the werewolf skin catching on fire and blowing up, is that I kind of wish the ending was a bit darker, but that's just a minor gripe. It's not a big deal. Overall, the ending's fine as it is. I just think it would be even better if it was a little bit more dark and disturbing. But this is Goosebumps. I know I shouldn't even ask for that for this, because it's made for children, but oh well. Hence, by the standards set by Goosebumps, I would have to give Werewolf Skin a 10 out of 10. I hate giving things a 10 out of 10 because, in my view, nothing is perfect. But I'd like to think that as far as Goosebumps episodes go, this is as perfect as Goosebumps could be. And that was Werewolf Skin, the last of the Goosebumps episodes that revolve around werewolves. And my god, I really went overboard with covering the werewolf content, huh? Well, now that we've gotten that all out of the way, I can reserve the rest of the Goosebumps episodes I covered for non-werewolf related stories. So I hope to see you then. And remember,